welcome back. So this time around we're talking about a track that has a lot of traction in the Gran Turismo community, and that is Dragontrail. Gardens or Seaside, I hear you ask? How about both? This is the Double Dragon. It's not available in Gran Turismo Sport or GT7, but it is available on Assetto Corsa, thanks to some mad lads that have gone out and created a mod for it. So obviously other things that don't exist in Gran Turismo are a Sigma. So how fast can the Sigma lap Double Dragon? Let's find out. Right, so we are now coming out of the last corner of Seaside of a lap. This is a replay. We're heading towards down the Seaside Straight. So this is Double Dragon. Start lap. Last lap was not a good lap. So where we would normally have that kink, which is coming up on the right towards the chicane, that's not going to happen. Brake about now. Yep, that's good. Turn it in. We're going left through this tunnel here. You can see there's a tunnel on the other side, and we'll come to that later. We'll brake at this column here. Turn it in. And so now we're basically joining after the last right-hander of Quad Apex of Gardens. So we're now going into the Gardens track. We're heading down that straight under the two bridges into that final hairpin, and then off for a lap of Gardens. Brake at about the 150 mark. On first lap from a standing start, you'll have more grip. That's okay. And probably a little bit less pace, so you can actually stop at the orange bit where the barrier juts off to the right. Have to make sure you lift a little bit of that hairpin. If you don't, you will oversteer into the barrier on the left. Pretty much just floor it through here. No problems, just make sure you change up gears as we go off for a lap of Gardens. Braking at the line. Don't do this line, this is not the line. Yeah, you're not actually meant to do that. That's astounding that wasn't a penalty for a cut or a contact, but there you go. And I was down to second. Brake here. Brilliant. Change down. Brilliant. Try and hit the GT line. That's about right. And that is perfect. Didn't unsettle the car too much either. And good change up on the exit. Carried a lot of pace out of that corner. Makes up a little bit, small bit, for that previous through T1. Now, I think I want to brake a bit before the 200 board here. There you go. I think I've got on the brakes a bit too early there. Let's see. Do I lift? Yeah. So too early on the brakes there. It's not such a bad thing really for this corner, because the alternative is not getting on early enough and you end up in the barriers. If you don't end up in the barriers, you might go on the gravel or just be really slow exiting that hairpin. I hate that hairpin, it's just terrible. It's brilliant when you get it right, you feel so good, but most of the time you just feel awful about how you've done it, even if you're actually quite good. So a little bit of a dab on the brakes to make sure you can hug that apex and get way over to the right here, because then you want a small dab so you can keep as much pace as you can going left. You can see that we're pretty much dropped down to the point where you could have changed back into second, but it's not worth it. Brake at the start of the red stuff, down to about 90, turn it in here. So as I've said, you know, quad apex, we've gone through 1, 2, third apex. Instead of going for the fourth apex, you can see the gap there in the barrier that's there, we're going to go left. And this is that other tunnel that we saw. So coming back around to the right, we brake it around about where the shadow at the end of the tunnel is, hit it nicely. So basically we've just gone past the kink. There we are. We're now onto a lap of Seaside. Brake. You have to brake pretty much at the start of the curbs and just slide it through the first apex without changing down. If you change down, you're liable to have snap oversteer, and then basically change down and immediately put your foot down so you can carry as much speed as you can. Flat through here. If you're in a race, you may have to lift here if you've got traffic, because the AI ain't brilliant, but flat through here if you get your line right. Brake at about here, so about part way down the grass. Want to change down as late as you can. to make sure you don't get snap oversteer again. You change up. Now, you've got two choices. You can either do what I do on this lap and hold third gear the whole way, or you change up basically here. But if you do, you're braking here and then changing down. So what I've worked out here is you're probably better off to just hold third gear, lose a little bit of top speed, but you don't drop as much on exit. And by dropping less on exit, you are keeping forward momentum through this sector here, or this sequence. Now, change up. We're looking for rock faces on the left. So this one is not for this set of tyres. This one is, and there's a rock there that juts out. You want to brake there. Change down again. Once you get, yeah, that's good. You can change down there pretty much. That's really too late to be changing down. You can't change down before you've got below really 90, or you will blow your engine. It's amazingly annoying when you're on a good lap and you do that. But you have to give yourself enough slowdown that you're not going to snap oversteer again. I've lined this up well, gone right out, made full use of the width of the track, abusing track limits mightily, and got away with it. Change up, yep, good job. Then we'll go off through the tunnel. We're doing fine. And we'll brake at the orange part of the barrier there. You can see how early you have to brake, right? Just ridiculously early. Now you can probably change down here if you wanted to, but carrying the speed through here is okay, but you want to change down before then. If you don't, you're just wasting time. So we've given up, I don't know, maybe 5 seconds on this lap, I think, easily. So giving up a lot of time there, you know, I'm saying 5 seconds. That off at the start of Gardens, couple of downshifts that I didn't really nail, and obviously breaking into the Gardens hairpin, just not it. So let's have a bit of a squiz at what happens if we try and overcome the shortcomings of this tyre. Right, coming on to the start-finish straight again. So when I say there's a problem with that tyre, that was the Street 90 tyre, and it doesn't hold temperature, like at all. So I've gone and modded the mod, as it were. It is not a published change. Brake it about here, just before the 150 board, yep. And put on a soft slick tyre. I think it came off one of the Kunos open wheeler cars. Brake it about this point still, so this braking point's the same. It's about the same size and profile. It's not quite right, but it's close enough that it doesn't really change the geometry of the car. Bonus. Carrying a lot more speed, which is brilliant, right? But now look how early I have to brake. 200 board. So that's 50 metres earlier. And the reason I have to brake that much earlier is because I have so much more pace going into the corners. Look how much more pace we're carrying out. That was like 50 something normally on the way out of that corner. So carrying all this extra pace through corners, right, and down straights, because we've just got loads of grip, tons of it, which then brings up the second failing of the Sigma as a track day car, which is it has rubbish brakes. Same brake point here. Yep. Just see how much more pace we're carrying, right? Ideally, you're getting down to like 100-ish, 110-ish. So you're carrying pretty much 30 kilometers an hour more through any fast corner, and mostly on the exit of a slow corner. Got that corner that's a little bit rubbish. Got this line right, but it's massively unsettled the car. And so this is why if you see people talk about the Sigma in terms of, and that's a late change. And then around about here, brake, yep, good. If you see people that have started talking about this mod a little bit and it's gotten very, very small amounts of comment, I've actually got this hairpin pretty much right. I'm okay with that. That's not the best way to take that corner in terms of hitting that curve as I did. It's not great for longer tracks. It's good for short tracks. And the reason is you, on long tracks, build up too much pace. Brake there. Just dab, yep. And you can see if you have the tyre meter up in Assetto Corsa, you can see how quickly the tyres go cold from the Street 90 tyre. With Yep, same braking points pretty much. With the soft slick, what you can see is the tyre still goes cold, but it gets brought back up pretty much as soon as you start going through corners again, right? And that allows you to pretty much rebuild the heat and the confidence pretty much instantly. So it's not as big a deal. Braking a little bit earlier here again. There you go. And because you've got that added confidence, you've got that added grip, you're pretty much just flying through the track, which is really helpful. But the Sigma, again, it's not designed for this. It's designed as a street commuter. It is not for these things. You turn in here, but you're going to brake pretty much straight away, like now. Yep. So as you can see, right, carrying so much more speed, but you just can't hold it through the corners, and you can't reduce the speed fast enough with these brakes. I'd love to see the brakes as a temperature gauge, or how close they're getting to blowing, because they must come incredibly close. But as a track, this is fantastic, and it's actually quite fun to drive with the Sigma once you get used to the Sigma-ness of it. Is it a great track for racing on? It's okay to race against other Sigmas. Against other cars, not so much, and we'll take a look at that in our next video. You can see how much early you have to brake, right? So I talked about 2 rock faces on the previous lap. So the earlier rock face also has a little rock that pokes out, and that is again a braking point, and that's the braking point for the soft tyre to be able to slow down enough in time to turn it in. And through this section here, it's just fantastic. It's so easy with a soft tyre, a slick tyre. You just basically send it, yep, and again, yep, all good, no cuts, all fine, apparently. Now we're looking for a person on the left in a white t-shirt towards the end of the crowd, and there they are. That's our braking mark. It's not a great way to tell yourself where you're braking in real life if that person chooses to move. That's a bit rough, but we'll go with it. And you can see again how much pace we're carrying out of there, right? And that's it, across the line for a 459.8. Pretty good. And then I've just deliberately blown the engine. So that's Double Dragon, 2 laps in 2 different tyres, but in the Sigma. It's an experience you're not going to get basically any other way than playing it through a set of course with mods. How did I find it? Look, it took me a lot of time to get the hang of the tyres, get the hang of where there was and wasn't grip really with the Sigma, and what the Sigma wanted to do in terms of braking. But once you get the hang of it, once you remember, you can't get on the throttle too early, it's really fun. And because it's a Sigma, it doesn't matter about, you don't need gloves, it's not going to rip the steering wheel out of your hand. And also, because it's a Sigma, you don't really get much benefit by way of better feel in your foot by having a better quality of shoe on. So I've been doing it with just slippers on, which is fantastically comfortable, especially as we head into the colder weather. So, Dragontrail, Double Dragon with a Sigma. Chef kiss. Hope you've enjoyed it, and we'll see you next time. Bye bye.